Welcome to another profile of one of our fine Sacramento County teachers. We're here with Daniel Watts, who is the Teacher of the Year for the Sacramento County Office of Education. Daniel, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, first tell us where you teach and what do you teach?
I teach at Carson Creek Junior Senior High, and I teach graphic arts and digital media.
Well, tell us a little bit more about your class and your program, the students that you teach, and what the program's all about.
Well, the program's all about is based on a business philosophy. Students come in and they basically can start their own business. They learn how to develop things with graphic arts, websites, animations, and also desktop publishing products.
And explain a little bit more about Carson Creek and that school and the students that you serve.
Yeah, Carson Creek is an incarcerated youth facility. Students are on probation, and the average stay is about 105 days. So when I receive a student, I have to address the student's needs quite rapidly, and they come from all over the Sacramento County, and when they come to that class, they enjoy the class. There's a waiting list for the class, and the students are very excited to be there.
What are some of the specific challenges that you face in your classroom on a daily basis?
Well, some of the specific challenges that I face is, like behavioral challenges. A lot of students come in, they're angry, they're upset. So we have to we have to ease them into the class and kind of let them know what the rules and the procedures are, so they can be successful.
Can you kind of describe how you motivate the students and what are some of the special things that you do in your classroom for motivation?
Well, one of the things I do is I have a art show every Friday, and every Friday we have rewards for them, and they actually have an opportunity to create their own artwork. We also have a music production program in there, and the students are able to actually write their own songs and produce their own music, and actually leave there with a music CD.
And and that serves as good motivation for your students?
Absolutely, they love music.
And they love the hands-on with the computer and
yeah,
doing
exactly.
all that.
They love working with the computers. Amazingly enough, they learn it, quite rapidly.
Mm-hmm. Now, how long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching a total of 12 years. Started off at the California Youth Authority at Preston School of Industry. Then I proceeded down to Stockton, and I worked down there at the Youth Authority for 3 more years. And then I worked as a substitute for Grant School District. And then I started my own business, developing after-school programs. And just for the last couple of years, I've been out at Carson Creek.
So in that amount of time, in the 12 years you've been in education, how have you seen education change and what teachers have had to do to adapt?
What I've seen have changed is the issues with students. Some of the behaviors are a little different. Some of the things they're getting involved with, you have to kind of understand where they're coming from. You have to really kind of pay attention, give them a voice, let them, establish a relationship with them so that, you can kind of find out about them, and that kind of makes it a lot easier to work with them.
And so over that span of 12 years, have you seen a big difference in the way students are and what you've had to do? And, well, how have you had to adjust what you do to deal with the kids?
I actually haven't had to adjust much. I've always knew the importance of building relationships, and once I established that relationship and their trust, they've pretty much been very responsive to me, but that's what you have to do with these students because, they lack the self-esteem, they lack confidence, so you have to kind of build the trust, build that relationship, and then start working on their confidence, and then make them start feeling good about themselves, and then they want to, they want to work hard, they want to be involved, they want to work on different projects. And that's basically how I've been successful.
Mm-hmm. So when you start to build that relationship is when you start to see better results?
Exactly. Once See, the main thing in this particular setting is that the students have to know you care. So once a student knows you care, then yeah, they want to perform for you. You know, they want to do stuff for you. They ask you, Mr. Watts, what can we do for you? You know, today. You know, do you need me to clean out your closet or whatever the case may be, or organize books for you? You know, student feels a sense of ownership of their classroom, and they, you know, they want to make a contribution. You know, they want to feel like, you know, it's their class. You know, and I do that by, you know, building that relationship.
Now, is there any particular teacher that you had in your past that kind of inspired you to become a teacher?
Well, actually, the teacher in my past was actually my mother. You know, who has a background working actually in the Department of Corrections and the Youth Authority, and yeah, she is definitely one that influenced me. You know, to work with, you know, the kind of population I'm working with. You know, because she just seen that there's a need, there's a really dire need, because a lot of kids are just getting into, you know, a lot of trouble, unfortunately, and you know, she felt my presence, and my presence especially being African-American male, you know, that I could make a difference.
And have you felt it has made a difference with students?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I feel just my presence alone has definitely made a difference, you know.
Oh, great. Now let me ask this, what does it feel like to be named as a Teacher of the Year for the Sacramento County Office of Education?
Actually, it feels really nice. You know, and I'm really honored, but you know, I'm just glad that I'm in a position where I can be a voice for those students. You know, students who, my particular students who don't get to go on field trips to art museums, and they're not allowed to have their picture taken. You know, and they're not allowed to even use their name on their own artwork. So I mean. So that's why I'm just a voice and an advocate for them, and it just feels, you know, I'm just really excited to be in a position to be that, you know.
And you said there's a waiting list to get into your classes?
Yeah, there's actually been a waiting list for 2 years, and this is and what's so remarkable about that is that, you know, these are students who didn't even like school, they didn't want to go to school, you know, out in their communities. And then all of a sudden they come out to Carson Creek, and now they're excited about school. They can't wait to get into school, you know. So I just feel like, you know, I've accomplished my goals. That was one of the goals. Actually, is, you know, basically is to get kids excited about school, you know, so that they'll want to go back out there and achieve and be successful in their, you know, send them back out to their districts, you know, their own. Districts or schools, you know, within their district. So,
well, finally, let me ask, what would you say to that person out there that's considering a career in teaching? What would you say to inspire them or motivate them to really seriously consider being a teacher?
I would say I would definitely, you know, inspire them to be a teacher, because just of the influence that you can have and the impact. I mean, outside their, you know, a parent, I mean, a teacher just has such an influence on a child, and because, you know, you can build that relationship, that positive relationship, you know, that can actually, you know, just totally change their whole view, you know, of themselves and the world, for that matter, you know.
And was your mother the one who inspired you the most to be a teacher?
Absolutely. She's a big inspiration. See, I didn't become a teacher until the age of 30. So, I mean, I was working as a janitor before that, you know, at a school, you know, and she just knew that I could make more of an impact, you know, on the world and then, you know, in education, if I go ahead and get into teaching. So, ironically, me and my brother are teachers.
Oh, wow. It's a family business.
It's a family business.
All right, well, thank you for joining us and sharing your story with us. We've been speaking with Daniel Watts, who is the Sacramento County Teacher of the Year for the Sacramento County Office of Education for 2009. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.